Hey everybody, TT here. I'm going to be returning to a little bit more video practice and guides as the new year rolls in, and as my body is continuing to heal from my broken rib injury that I was kind of in the throes of for the last few months of 2021. So I'm here today to continue divulging to you a little bit about what this rhythm work is for me. So rhythmic practice is really a self-guided and self-generated practice I've been in for years, and it keeps evolving and changing, combining philosophy and theory with creative practice and somatic practice. One of the things I wanted to share with you today in this short video is an example of a rhythmic practice that crosses the boundaries of Qigong and energy work that I do. And it still really centers on being aware of rhythms. So if you haven't watched the previous video or read a little bit about it, I have posts down further about what rhythm work is. Some of the basics of that has to do with reflection, journaling, questions around the rhythms that are alive in our bodies and minds at any given time. And in particular, it's a practice of active animism, of honoring and connecting to the consciousness and life of the natural world beyond the human. And then inclusive of all of that, it's a somatic field and a creative field where we can explore creative movement practices, awareness practices, things like that. So the practice I want to share with you today is about energetic connection to a tree. Now I'm going to share with you a little bit about what this practice is like. So this practice of energetically connecting to a tree is a practice from Qigong, and particularly medical and energy work side of Qigong. So Qigong can also be a little bit leaning towards just movement forms, but the lineage I come from is really focused on the Chinese medicine aspect of what Qigong is, the energy lines of the body, the energy fields of the body, and then in connection with and reverence for the energy of the world beyond the human. So I'm going to give you kind of a 3 or 4 step introduction to what this practice looks or feels like. Again, you don't have to have a really deep background in energy work in order to dive into these practices, because even if you're kind of more in a thinking state, in a cognitive state, you're still creating and accessing energy in that way. So what this practice can look like is picking a tree, first of all. Figuring out a tree that you want to have contact with and connection with, or maybe one that you already do in some ways. A tree in your yard, in your park, in your ecosystem. And the first thing to do is ask permission of the tree. So that can look like going up and touching the tree and saying, is it okay if I establish contact with you? Trees aren't going to necessarily speak back in a way that's easy to understand, but you're putting a consent orientation out into the world, and a tree is going to receive that in the way that it does, energetically. It can also look like sitting with the tree silently and just giving a few moments before you enter into contact. It can look like offering something of your own and taking a leaf in return, things like that. You'll find what feels right for you. If you have a resource in movement practice, it can look like offering a shape, offering this is a really good shape, a shape of like reverence and longing, opening the heart with the arms up. It can look like lots of different things. Once you've established that, the next thing to do is to prepare your own energy field. Again, you don't have to have a background in energy work to do this. All you have to do is sit or stand, take a few deep breaths, maybe 5 or 10, and either feel, if you have some capacity and sense of already practicing in this way, or visualize yourself kind of surrounded by this aura or this ball of light. You can visualize it as white, but any color will do. Different colors represent different layers of energy and different qualities. I'm not going to get into that now, but it really is just your choice, what's natural, what feels powerful to you. Visualize your own energy field, and then what you're going to do is you're going to sit with your back to the tree. Your energy field's going to cross into the trunk of the tree, and then take a few looks up from basically the tree's perspective of its own trunk, looking up at the world, the branches, the leaves, and visualize the tree's energy field. Similarly, it will extend out, its roots extend down and widely into the ground. Give yourself a visual or a felt sense of all that the tree encompasses. maybe thinking about the soil, the birds, all the life that is intermingled with the tree's life. Holding the whole time that all of this different kind of life, soil, weeds, berries, seeds, leaves, birds, insects, is part of the tree's life too. So it's not always easy to differentiate and say, well, this is the bug and this is the tree. It's easy for us to differentiate ourselves a lot, but this practice is about a unifying here, and being receptive to that kind of life. Once you're doing that, you can re-enter the state of your own aura field, your own energy field, taking 5 or 10 deep breaths, visualizing your aura, your bubble, your energy sphere, and allow the visualizations or the felt senses of those two to intermingle. You might think of them like rippling waves from 2 drops in a pond, and they ripple and then they hit and they start to bleed into each other and create new effects. So this can be a meditation of imagery and visualization. It can be a meditation of felt sense, feeling the tree at your back, feeling the air, hearing the leaves. There is no wrong or right way to go about entering this practice. It's just really fundamentally about these stages and the intention. So the stages being asking permission, establishing your own energy field, and establishing the trees. Sitting against the tree is the last step, and blending, letting these things blend. So this is a rhythmic practice in the sense that it bridges our rhythms with the tree's rhythms. And you might notice and hold a curiosity about what is the relationship of your time to the tree time, and how does that show up for you in this practice?